Okay guys, in this section, I will talk about auto-scaling group. So in real life, the load on your website and the application can change. In the cloud, you can create and get rid of a service very quickly. The goal of auto-scaling group is to scale out to match an increased load. Scale out means add EC2 instances, and scale in to match a decreased load. Scale in means remove EC2 instances. Ensure we have minimum and maximum number of machines running. Automatically register new instances to a load balancer. So let's look at this picture. This picture demonstrates how autoscaling group works. So it has several parameters. So let's look at minimum size first. The minimum size means that at least the autoscaling group will have minimum size of EC2 instance running. And on the opposite, maximum size means at max the autoscaling group will have maximum size EC2 instance running. Okay. So the actual or desired capacity means the actual running EC2 instances in this autoscaling group. And the autoscaling group will scale in or scale out based on the web traffic, okay? But the range is between the minimum size and the maximum size. So that's basically how autoscaling group works. Okay, next, let's look at this picture. Autoscaling group always or usually cooperate with a load balancer. So we can put an load balancer in front of an autoscaling group. So the web traffic will send it to the load balancer, and the load balancer will dispatch this traffic to the EC2 instances in the autoscaling group, which behind the load balancer. Okay, so autoscaling group has the following attributes. First is called a launch configuration, and the launch configuration contains AMI plus instance type, EC2 user data, EBS volumes, security group, SSH key pair. It has minimum size, max size, initial capacity, which I just talked about in previous slide. And it has a network and subnets information. It has a load balancer information, and also it has a scaling policies. Okay, so let's talk about auto-scaling alarms. It's possible to scale an ASG based on CloudWatch alarms. ASG stands for auto-scaling group. Alarm monitors metrics such as average CPU. Metrics are computed for the overall ASG instances. Based on the alarm, we can create a scale-out policy. Scale-out policy means increase the number of EC2 instances. And we can create a scale-in policy, which means decrease the number of instances. So let's look at ASG bring dump. So scaling policy can be on CPU network and can even be on customer metrics or based on a schedule. So if you know your visitors' patterns. Okay, ASG use launch configuration or launch template. Launch template is the new version of a launch configuration. So in the real life, we will always use launch template instead of launch configuration because it has more feature than the launch configuration. And to update an ASG, you must provide a new launch configuration or launch template. IAM roles attached to ASG will get assigned to EC2 instances. ASG are free. You pay for the underlying resources being launched. Having instances under an ASG means that if they get terminated for whatever reason, the ASG will automatically create new ones as a replacement. ASG can terminate instances marked as unhealthy by a load balancer and hence replace them. Okay, enough introduction about auto-scaling group. Next, I will show you how to use auto-scaling group in AWS. Of course, we should create auto-scaling group first. So let's navigate to the EC2 service in AWS and choose this option, auto-scaling groups. Click it. So in this page, click Create Auto-Scaling Group button. And here you have several configuration to configure. So first thing first, we should have a launch template. If you already have one, you can click this drop-down list. It will show you the ones you already created. But if this is the first time you use Autoscaling group, it should be empty. So I will show you how to create a launch template from scratch. Let's click this link, create a launch template. So this link will navigate you to the page about how to create launch template. Okay, in this page, we have several configurations need to configure. The first one is the launch template name. So I will call it a third launch template. Okay. So template version description, I will leave it blank. So next, I should choose the AMI for the newly created EC2 instance in this autoscaling group. So for the AMI, I will choose this one. Okay. And the instance type, let me say I want to be t2.micro. Okay. And the key pair, I don't want, let's say, okay, use this one. And network, I will use the default one. Security group, let's say I want to use this one. Okay. And let's leave other configuration as default. So let's click this advanced detail. Here I want to configure the user data. So I want to install the Apache server in the newly created EC2 instances. So I will copy and paste this shell script here. Okay, so if everything is okay, I will click this button, create launch template. So it says we have successfully created this launch template. Okay, let's go back to the autoscaling group. Click this link. All right, next let's create this button. So we can give this autoscaling group a name. Let's say ASG 1-1 and the launch template. I will choose the one I just created, which is called the third launch template. Okay, so you can see yeah, everything is okay. I can click next. So for the VPC and the subnet, I can choose all of these and click next. Here it will let you choose whether you want to enable load balancing or not. So in my case, I will check this one. So there are two options. The first is application load balancer or network load balancer. The second one is a classic load balancer. So here I'm gonna use classic load balancer. Okay. So for now I don't have the classic load balancer classic load balancer instance. Okay. So I need to create one. I can click this link to create a load balancer. But this link will refresh my page. So I will duplicate this tab. So in this newly created tab, I will choose EC2 service. And let's scroll down to the load balancing. Click load balancers. I will create a classic load balancer here. So choose this one. Give it a name called CLB-1. Okay. So click next. Choosing a security group for this load balancer. So I will choose the first one. Okay. Click next and next. So here I will use the default configuration and click next. Okay, it says add EC2 instance. Currently, I don't have EC2 instances, and I want to use this CLB as the front for the autoscaling group. So I won't manually add any instances here. Okay, so let's click next. give it a name, and let's say CLB-1. Okay, so click next, review and create. So if everything is okay, let's click this create button to create our load balancer. Okay, so classic load balancer is created now. Let's go back to the previous tab and let's refresh and click this drop down. You can see that here I can see the classic load balancer I just created. So let's choose this one. Okay, so let's check this ELB, and this will let ELB do the health check for us. Okay, so click next. Okay, for the desired capacity, let's say it will be 1, and the minimum be 1, maximum let's say be 3. Okay, so next I wanna create click next button. So next, and the tag I will leave. I don't wanna give it any tag, so let's click next button. So let's review it. If everything is okay, let's click this button to create our autoscaling group. Alright, so as you can see, the autoscaling group is in the schedule for creating. So let's wait for a second for it to finish. So I will pause this video. So while the autoscaling group is in the process of creating, let's click the instances. So you can see that we have an EC2 instances creating. This is because we set the desired capacity of the autoscaling group to 1. So there will be 1 EC2 instance. Okay, so let's wait for the EC2 instance to finish creating. Okay, now you can see the EC2 instance finish creating. So let's go to the load balancer and let's copy the DNS name. Open new tab, click paste it here, and then let's visit. You can see we successfully see this page. Okay guys, I just terminate the EC2 instance. So I want to test if the autoscaling group will create a new EC2 instance for us, because I set the minimum size to 1. So when the autoscaling group detects that there is no EC2 instance exists already, it will create a new one for us. So let's refresh. Let's click this refresh button. Let's wait for a moment because autoscaling group will need some time to detect the changes. So I will pause the video. Okay, next let's refresh again. Alright, as you can see, autoscaling group will detect this change and create a new EC2 instance for us. Alright, so I think that's enough for the introduction of autoscaling group. I hope you like this video. If you do like this video, please thumbs up and subscribe my channel. Thank you.